Have you ever noticed that the moments you rush the most are often the moments that matter the least? Think about that. The notification that demanded your attention, the email that felt urgent, the deadline that kept your heart racing, the endless list of things you believed had to be done immediately. And yet, years later, how many of those moments truly changed your life? Not many, but something else did. The stress, the anxiety, the sleepless nights, the feeling that life was moving too fast and somehow you were always behind. What if the greatest illusion of modern life is not that we don't have enough time, but that everything is urgent? The Buddha taught that suffering often begins not because life is difficult, but because the mind refuses to be still. Today, millions of people wake up already exhausted, not from physical labor, not from lack of ability, but from carrying an invisible burden, the constant pressure to hurry. Hurry to succeed, hurry to achieve, hurry to respond, hurry to become someone. Yet very few people stop and ask a simple question. Who told me I was running out of time? Maybe nobody did. Maybe the fear lives quietly inside us. A fear that if we slow down we will fall behind. A fear that if we rest we will lose. A fear that if we pause life will pass us by. But Buddhism offers a different perspective. A perspective so simple that many people overlook it. Life is not asking you to run. Life is asking you to awaken. Imagine a lake on a windy day. The surface is restless. The water is disturbed. Nothing can be seen clearly. Now imagine the wind disappears. Slowly, the water becomes calm. Suddenly, everything is reflected perfectly. The mountains, the sky, the clouds. Your mind works the same way. When it is constantly rushed, you cannot see reality clearly. You react instead of respond. You worry instead of observe. You survive instead of live. The tragedy is that many people spend decades trapped in this cycle. They believe stress is productivity. They believe exhaustion is success. They believe being busy is proof of importance. But one day life delivers a lesson. Sometimes gently, sometimes painfully. A health scare, a broken relationship, a moment of burnout, a night when sleep refuses to come, a realization that despite years of rushing, peace still feels far away. Life eventually teaches what wisdom could have taught earlier. Nothing was as urgent as you thought. The ancient Buddhist masters understood something that modern society often forgets. A flower never rushes to bloom. A tree never competes with another tree. The moon never hurries across the sky. Yet everything arrives exactly when it should. Nature lives without anxiety. Only humans create clocks in their minds and then become prisoners of them. This does not mean abandoning responsibility. It does not mean becoming lazy. It means learning the difference between movement and panic. Many people confuse the two. Movement is healthy. Panic is exhausting. Movement comes from clarity. Panic comes from fear. Movement creates progress. Panic creates suffering. The Buddha encouraged mindful action, not frantic action. There is a profound difference. When you eat mindfully, food nourishes more than your body. When you walk mindfully, each step becomes peaceful. When you breathe mindfully, the nervous system begins to soften. When you live mindfully, urgency loses its grip. Think about your own life. How much of your stress comes from what is actually happening? And how much comes from stories your mind keeps repeating? What if I fail? What if I'm too late? What if I'm not doing enough? What if everyone else is ahead of me? Notice something important. These fears almost always live in the future, rarely in the present moment. The present moment is surprisingly simple. Right now you are breathing. Right now you are here. Right now this moment is complete. Yet the mind travels thousands of miles into imaginary futures and returns carrying anxiety. This is why meditation is not about escaping reality. It is about returning to reality. For a few minutes, close your eyes and observe your breath. Nothing fancy, nothing complicated. Simply notice the inhale. Notice the exhale. At first, the mind may resist. It may tell you there are more important things to do. But that resistance reveals something powerful. The mind has become addicted to urgency. And like any addiction, it feels uncomfortable when deprived. But stay. Remain present. Watch carefully. Something beautiful begins to happen. The storm inside starts to quiet. Not because your problems disappear, but because your relationship with them changes. You realize that most worries are temporary visitors. They arrive, they stay, they leave. Yet we often build homes for them inside our minds. Buddhist wisdom reminds us that every experience is impermanent. Every emotion, every challenge, every success, every failure, everything changes. The anxiety you feel today will change. The uncertainty you feel today will change. The pressure you feel today will change. Knowing this does not make life perfect. It makes life lighter, because you stop treating temporary experiences as permanent truths. You stop believing every fearful thought. You stop chasing every alarm your mind creates. And gradually, something remarkable happens. You begin to trust life again, not because life becomes predictable, but because you discover a deeper stability within yourself. A place untouched by deadlines, untouched by comparison, untouched by constant pressure. A place of stillness, a place that has always existed beneath the noise. And perhaps that is what you have been searching for all along. Not more achievement, not more speed, not more urgency, but peace. The kind of peace that cannot be purchased. The kind of peace that does not depend on circumstances. The kind of peace that remains even when the world feels chaotic. And this peace becomes available the moment you stop running long enough to notice it. Because sometimes the most productive thing you can do is slow down. Sometimes the wisest thing you can do is rest. And sometimes the greatest act of courage is trusting that life does not need to be forced. As we continue this journey, there is something important you may need to hear. The world benefits when you believe everything is urgent. A hurried mind buys more, consumes more, worries more, compares more. But a peaceful mind is different. A peaceful mind becomes difficult to control. It no longer chases every trend. It no longer measures self-worth through productivity. It no longer mistakes exhaustion for achievement. This is why slowing down can feel uncomfortable at first. Many people have spent years, even decades, identifying themselves with being busy. If they stop, they wonder, who am I without all this rushing? It is a profound question, and Buddhism invites us to explore it. The Buddha taught that much of our suffering comes from attachment. We become attached to success, attached to expectations, attached to a certain image of ourselves. We become attached to being the person who is always working, always striving, always pushing forward. Then one day life changes. Plan falls apart. A career shifts. A relationship ends. Health demands attention. And suddenly the identity we depended on begins to crack. But perhaps that cracking is not the end. Perhaps it is the beginning. Because what remains when the noise falls away? What remains when the schedule becomes empty? What remains when the endless striving finally pauses? Awareness remains. Presence remains. The simple experience of being alive remains. Zen teachings often point toward this truth. You do not need to become someone else to find peace. You do not need another accomplishment. You do not need permission. You only need to return to this moment. Again, and again, and again. Notice how the breath never rushes. It arrives naturally. It leaves naturally. Your heart does not panic to beat faster than necessary. The seasons do not compete with one another. Spring does not try to become summer overnight. Everything in nature understands timing. Everything except the anxious human mind. When we forget this wisdom, we begin fighting life itself. We demand certainty where none exists. We demand speed where patience is needed. We demand control over things that were never ours to control. And this creates tension, not only in the mind, but in the body. Many people carry stress in their shoulders, in their neck, in their jaw, in their chest. Their bodies are quietly holding the pressure of a life lived in constant urgency. Perhaps you know this feeling. You lie down to sleep, but your thoughts continue running. You finish one task and immediately worry about the next. Even moments of rest feel uncomfortable. The body is tired, but the mind refuses to stop. This is where mindfulness becomes medicine. Not a quick fix, not a miracle cure, but a gentle return to balance. Tonight before sleep, try something simple. Turn off the noise. Put down the phone. Sit quietly for a few moments. Take a slow breath in. Hold it gently, then release. As you breathe out, imagine letting go of one burden, one expectation, one unnecessary pressure. You do not have to solve your entire life tonight. You do not have to fix everything this week. You do not have to carry tomorrow before it arrives. This moment is enough. The Buddha often reminded his followers that peace is not found in the future. It is discovered in the present. This may sound simple, but simple truths are often the most powerful. Consider how much of life we miss because we are elsewhere in our minds. We miss the warmth of morning sunlight. We miss conversations with loved ones. We miss the beauty of ordinary moments. We miss the miracle of simply being alive. All because we are mentally racing toward the next thing. Yet one day, every person realizes something. The moments we remember most are rarely the busiest. They are the quiet moments, the meaningful conversations, the peaceful walks, the unexpected laughter, the evenings spent watching the sky change colors, the moments when we were fully present. These are the treasures of life, not the endless rushing, not the constant worrying, not the race we imagine we had to win. And perhaps that is the lesson life eventually teaches us. The lesson many people learn only after years of stress. Nothing was truly as urgent as it seemed. The email could wait. The notification could wait. The approval could wait. The comparison could wait. But your peace deserved attention all along. Imagine looking back on your life many years from now. Will you wish you had worried more? Will you wish you had rushed more? Will you wish you had spent more nights unable to sleep? Probably not. You will likely wish you had enjoyed more sunsets, more laughter, more stillness, more presence, more peace. The beautiful thing is that you do not need to wait until the end of life to understand this. You can begin today, right here, right now. Take a slow breath. Relax your shoulders. Allow your jaw to soften. Notice the ground beneath you. Notice the air around you. Notice that in this moment you are safe. The future has not arrived. The past is already gone. Life is happening here. In this breath. In this heartbeat. In this moment. And this moment asks nothing from you except awareness. So the next time your mind tells you that everything is urgent, pause for a second. Ask yourself, is this truly urgent? Or is it simply another wave passing through the mind? Observe it. Smile gently. And let it pass. Because peace is not something you earn after suffering enough. Peace is available now. It has always been available. Waiting patiently beneath the noise. Waiting beneath the fear. Waiting beneath the rush. And when you finally slow down enough to notice it, you may discover that the life you were desperately chasing was already here all along. Thank you for spending these peaceful moments with me. If this teaching brought a little more calm, clarity, or comfort into your day, please take a moment to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Your support helps us continue sharing mindful wisdom, emotional healing, meditation inspiration, Zen living practices, and peaceful reflections with people around the world. Remember, nothing is urgent. Your peace matters. Your breath matters. This moment matters. Until next time, may your mind be calm, your heart be light, and your path be peaceful. Welcome to Soft Zen Mind.